Crafty friends, Jen Cascell here. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. I'm excited to have you. So today I am going to do a tutorial for this cute little pumpkin tote that you might have seen in the August release video for ScrapDiva Designs. So as always, here is the website and all of her info on the back. Make sure to use that hashtag ScrapDiva Designs for some amazing inspiration. And as always, if I've inspired you in any way, please feel free to use my coupon code JEN10 for 10% off your purchase at the shop. All right, so let's dive into it. So I've used quite a few dies from the shop, few old, few new, lots of fun though. And the two that you're going to need for the tutorial are the pumpkin mini album, as well as the box making strips. So I've also used, from the new release, there's the thankful and grateful words. Guys, these were some of my favorite dies from this release. And I always have a tendency to go back to Cricut for my sentiments because you can adjust the size and scale. And a lot of the sentiment dies out there aren't as big as what I would normally like. These ones are a little bigger. I really like these because they're a little over 4, I want to say. And it's perfect, absolutely perfect size. So good. I also dug into my stash and I found the branches and ornament wreath set. And look at these. Look at these. So good. Rediscovering some of my older dies. I also picked out this sunflower bag topper. This is the small one. I keep all of my sunflower series together in packaging, and there was 3. There was the small sunflower, there was the large sunflower bag topper, and then there was also the sunflower mini album. So you've got quite a few different sizes there. Also from the August release, we're going to be using the Heart Fantasy Flower die. This is so good too. And then I also grabbed the triple star bow from this release. I did use that triple star bow on my original one. I just didn't add the star backing to it, but I'm going to be using the star backing for this one. Let's talk about what we need. First, we need one of the large box making strips. Now, this is the 2.5 inch one. There's also the 2 inch. You do need the larger of the strips, so it's totally up to you if you want to make your tote a little skinnier. You could use the 2 inch one. This, of course, is the 2.5. From the pumpkin mini album, we're going to be using these 2 right here, which is your largest pieces. And I've cut that out quite a few times. So you're going to see this is going to be the front of my box. You're also going to need one for the reverse, and make sure that when you're putting this in, if you are using pattern paper, which this one has a really subtle line on it, I don't know if you can tell, but you want to flip that paper over and put it in reverse because it is going to go on the back. And this is going to be the back piece of my box, and I've cut this here. It'll sit like this with this on the back. So we have these right here. And then I also used from the back of this, these 2 largest ones here. So you've got the one without the stitching and then the one with the stitching. So without, I've cut it twice in the pink, and then the one with the stitching, I've cut it in blue. I've also used this embossing folder. This is an older, I believe this is a Sizzix embossing folder, but it's one of the 3D ones. And I mean, look at how cool that is, right? Very cool. I did not emboss my original one. I knew as soon as I started putting it together, but I had already glued it down, that I wish I would have embossed. So I'm definitely going to be doing it this time around. So I'm going to bring you in a little closer, and I did show these on that August release, but I wanted to show you again because I'm probably going to be using one of these on my purse, of these little embellishments that I created. So cute. And I really love this color palette. Truth be told, I wasn't even going to do any fall besides, you know, bare minimum for the release, but I loved these dies so much that I wanted to do a little bit more fall. And I kind of fell in love with this color palette, and I'm kind of going a little further with it as well this time. I've added a couple colors. I've added some pattern, which I didn't use any pattern paper on this one, but I wanted to do a little bit of pattern with the bow. So I've already cut out my sunflower, and you do have two different sizes of the sunflower. It's two different layers. One's a little smaller. I did two of the larger back ones, and then I did one of the smaller ones, and then you have 3 layers to the center. So this is actually one die. This is how it's going to cut. You don't need to have this one, but I'm going to put it as the back of this portion right here, which is the center of my flower, and then I'm going to layer it with that on top. Okay. And then for the star bow, I just did the smaller of the bows. You get 2 sizes with that, a small and a large. This here is the smaller one, and it's still going to measure almost 3 inches. So it's 2 3/4. And I did just a little bit of pattern paper to this. This is older paper that I found in my stash. I can't even tell you what company it's from. This is like my little, this is how I think when I'm about to create a project. I do like a little curating. I don't think that I will use all of this, but I like having it at my disposal when I go to create something. So I have a couple different flowers here. Like I said, these are the Heart Fantasy flowers that came out. Look at how pretty these are. Absolutely love them. And then this one, I didn't bring out the die, but this is from the Embellishment book that came out this month. And this is the smallest of that set of flowers that's in it. The little mini pumpkin is from the Pumpkin Mini album. That was just like an extra in there, and you can see some of the leaves that were also included with that mini album. So you get 2 different leaves, you get a small and a large, and I've cut it using this really pretty lighter like seafoam green, and then I also used this champagne glitter cardstock from Encore. If you haven't tried 12x12's Encore glitter cardstock, so good. Cuts beautifully, no shed. These are a couple of the leaves from my favorite leaf from ScrapDiva Designs. I know I'm not even going to say it because you guys have heard me say it 1,001 times. And then I did these lighter green. This is from that Wreath and Ornament die that I showed you. I mean, look at how pretty and delicate these are on their own. So good. And then this is that extra color that I decided to kind of throw in there. This is a jade green, super, super pretty. And I think it'll look gorgeous with all of these little colors. If you want to see my color palette, so this is my color palette right here. This is all from 12x12. So we have the pink champagne, hands down my favorite pink cardstock. We have a brick, which is kind of an orangey red, the mac and cheese. I also used a bit of a shimmery orange in here as well. That's not from 12x12. I have Bayou, Mediterranean blue, straw hat, and maple syrup. So I've brought out my scoring board and I have my box making strip. And the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm putting this tab over to this side, is score at 10 inches. Okay. And now we're going to find the center of this. So I'm going to bring this down. Bring this down. I'm going to bring this down at 4 7/8 and just score right there. That's going to be the center of your piece. It's off by just a hair, but don't worry, you're not even going to notice when you put this together. Grab a pair of scissors and we're just going to make a tab on this end right here. And I'm going to use Barely Art glue to lay these tabs down. Next, you'll want to start doing these tabs, and I've pulled a few on either end, and now I'm going to grab my straight edge, bring that down, and this way you know all of your tabs are going to be straight. Before I flip it, I'm going to use my scissors just to cut right where that score line is. Don't go past it. And do the exact same thing on the other side. Once again, make sure you cut at that score line that goes in between the tabs, okay? We're gonna set this aside. I flipped my pumpkin. These are the outside layers over, so this is the side, like the interior, and I'm going to add my blue stitched layer. Now I have turned on my hot glue gun for this. I used a mix of hot glue and liquid glue for this portion. So go ahead and add a little bit of a curve, and I am going to grab the first of my pumpkins, and right at that middle piece, you're going to put your first 2 tabs on. I'm going to use hot glue for this. This way I know it's super secure, just because this is going to hold a lot of weight. Now I'm going to add a little bit more hot glue to these tabs here. I don't normally use hot glue when I'm doing this, but this is a little funky at the bottom, and I just want to know that it's in place and sitting well. So hot glue it is for a moment, and you're not even going to be able to see this when we're done, so no worries on that. And I'll do the exact same thing with these. Your center tab here, and then I've done 4 tabs on either side of the center. I'm going to flip it over, grab your other one, and do the exact same thing. I'm going to use some regular Barely Arts glue that isn't as bulky for this. And I'll flip that over and then just kind of run my finger along the base. And I'll do the same thing on this side. I'm going to hit the rest of those tabs with my Barely Art glue. So that's what you should have at this point. I'm going to even grab my bone folder and really just press it down. I've added my Barely Art glue to the other set of tabs. And then once again, use that work surface. Okay, and then our last set. So this is what we should have at this point. Really cute. Don't worry, this looks a little bulky up front here. It's not, you're not even gonna see it. So let's grab this brown stem layer that we're using and apply that. I've added the brown stem to the front and the back. I know it still looks a little funky. Don't worry, we're still going to be covering that up. So this one right here is the exact same size as your first pumpkin. So it covers this up completely. You won't even notice it. Okay, I'm going to set this aside and let it cure. Let's focus on the front of our box. Now, I was going to do something a little different for the handles for this, but then I realized I didn't have enough ribbon for what I wanted. So I ended up cutting some of my purse strips. Once again, this is the purse strap die from ScrapDiva Designs. I did use it on this one, and I figured if it's not broke, you know. So I did this in pink, and then I did a blue overlay. So just go ahead and add some Barely Art glue. Then I will grab my bone folder and just make sure that these are curved and add them with some hot glue. Now it's just a matter of putting my outside pink pieces on, and I'm going to use a mixture of Barely Art and hot glue for that. And I'll make sure to put some hot glue right over where we put those strips, and then just a little down at the bottom too. All right, this is what we should have at the moment. Looking great. Can't even tell down at the bottom. And now let's add our front piece to it. I'm going to use some of my Barely Art cubies to apply the front layer just for a little added dimension. I am going to add some hot glue to these cubies just because I know I'm going to be putting a lot of weight on the front of this. Okay, we have our tote. Super cute. Plenty of room. This is a big one. It's a little chunker. The tutorial portion is over for the tote. This is what you have. So cute. But I am going to show you how I do my layering. So let's start off with this bow. And this is how I've been doing my bows lately. So make sure that you're using your bone folder to give it a little curve. And then I'm going to pull the tails outward like this on the base. Same thing with this one, pull out. I'll take my hot glue gun, run just a little bead here. I made sure that my stars lined up. Now I'm going to take my scissors and cut my tails in half. Add just a little bit of hot glue. And pop that on. I just kind of angled it out a little bit. Same thing for this one here. Just kind of go by what you had before. Don't worry. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're not even going to notice. I'm going to add that. That's how I put together my bow. Now let's turn our attention to the sunflower. I'm going to curve these petals with my bone folder. Bring those petals forward a little. Make sure that these petals are kind of variegated so they're not sitting right on top of one another. With this outside edge. Super pretty, right? Now I want to kick my bow up a notch. Let's add, I think I kind of like that, don't you? Yeah, I do. Okay. Cute. All right, so when I'm layering, I like to start with my largest piece. So I'm gonna start with this flower off to the side here. And I think I'm gonna use this grateful as well. Yeah, I do like the way this grateful looks. Probably bring it over just a tad. Okay, yes, super cute. So much dimension. Pop this right on top. I'll just use hot glue for this one. Okay, now we can kind of start filling in a little bit. Yeah, that's adorable. I think it needs a leaf in there. Cute. Along with this one. Oh. Okay, really cute, right? So now let me show you my trick for hot glue. So if you've got all those little strands hanging out, don't bother wasting your time to pick them all out. Take your heat tool, put it on high. No hot glue strands. It just melts it right into the material. Let's take one more look at this beautiful girl here. So good. I love how this turned out. And then of course we have the original here. The only thing that I didn't do on this one was the eyelash trim that I did on this. Super cute though. Oh my gosh, I just love it. So thank you so much for watching. If I've inspired you in any way, please feel free to use my coupon code JEN10 for 10% off your purchase at the shop. If you like this video, please hit that thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more crafty content. I'll see you in the next crafty video. Bye.